Jaxx Steaks in South Philly. Among others, I selected this one because the first review that popped up was best cheesesteak in the city. Right away, we got some slabby slab steak here, and you know I'm a chopped up guy. You can just tell this sucker is juicy. How beautiful is that? And it's a seeded roll. Very interesting. This place knows how to tug on my heartstrings. Not only does it look like an amazing place to watch a game, hang out, whatever it is, but they have an old school cigarette machine. Some guy was walking by, I assume he was the owner or the manager, and he saw me looking at it. I said, that's pretty cool. He said, what? The Eagles sign or the cigarette machine? I said both, because go Birds. And in the coolest answer, I would have never thought, he goes, yeah, I have it in here for the neighborhood. The closest spot to get cigarettes is Wawa, which, if my knowledge of Wawa serves me correct, is the one on Delaware Ave, which is probably about half mile away, bit of a hike. So this guy has a cigarette machine in his restaurant just so people in the neighborhood can come and get cigarettes. Not necessarily eat or drink there, but to help the neighborhood out. How beautiful is that? All right. I'm excited for a bite. All right, it's pretty meaty, which, if you recall, one of the things that I've discovered on this journey is if you're going to go slab steak, you want to go easy on the meat. That said, this is a thin slab. This almost reminds me of a roast beef sandwich. It's kind of like thin, soggy meat, and this roll isn't too tough, but man, this seeded roll, man, I just can't wrap my head around it. I feel like I could be eating a roast beef hoagie or an Italian hoagie or a turkey hoagie. You know, the seeds just throw me off. This is going to be hard for me to do because you know I'm a positive guy and I liked it in there. So let me just be clear. If I lived in this neighborhood, I would be at this spot all the time. This is where I would go to hang out. It looks awesome. The food is delicious. But as far as a cheesesteak, whoever wrote best cheesesteak in Philly, I can guarantee you is not from Philadelphia, because honestly, I don't even know if I would qualify this as a cheesesteak. Not only does it have a seeded roll, like, we're crossing the boundaries of slab steak here, and we're just like talking about chunks, you know, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not necessarily what I would call a cheesesteak. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if on the menu it said cheesesteak sandwich, because that's what it reminds me of. And anybody who knows cheesesteaks knows that cheesesteaks are not sandwiches. Cheesesteaks are not hoagies. Cheesesteaks are cheesesteaks. They are a class and breed unto itself. I think it would behoove Jaxx Steaks to just take this same exact sandwich and just call it a hot roast beef sandwich. It's honestly what it tastes like. It's how it presents. And for the sake of this project, I'm recommending cheesesteaks for people that may be from out of town and don't know better. And for that person, I do not recommend coming to Jaxx to get a cheesesteak. I recommend to come to check out a pretty sweet spot to drink, watch sports, and get cigarettes from an old-fashioned cigarette machine. But I do not recommend getting the Philly cheesesteaks experience here. As you know, an authentic Philly cheesesteak will get at least a 7.6, and I think I am going to give this I'm going to give this a 5.5. It's like, you know, it's definitely better than half, but I got to give this a 5.5. If I had gotten the same exact thing from ordering a hot roast beef sandwich, I think I'd give it like a 9.8. In the world of hot roast beef sandwiches, this would be the best. But in the world of cheesesteaks, which is what it's billed as, I'm sorry. It's not an authentic Philly cheesesteak. Just to be clear, if I was here for a different reason, I would 100% order this again, knowing what I'm in for. But I would not recommend going out of my way just to try this specific cheesesteak. Jaxx Steaks, love what you're doing there. Don't love the sandwich. Stay beefy, Philadelphia.